I hear this all the time. I do. I do hear this all the time about whether President Trump was right to deny aid to Democratic controlled cities that experience riots. And should they also pay for the damages to businesses and to those who suffer losses in these cities through the federal government? I'm going to tell you absolutely no. Absolutely not. No kind of way do I believe the federal government and all of our taxpayers should have to pay for what happened in democratic controlled cities in which these riots occur. And I'm going to tell you why President Trump is right to make this type of decision. I'm going to tell you why. Because, see, all those taxpayers include Virginia citizens. All those taxpayers include states and cities that had nothing to do with those riots, nor was our leaders up there promoting those riots, which caused the disaster and destruction throughout those cities. No, we will not be paying for that. No. Number one, whoever organized those protests, whether it was BLM or Antifa or whoever, y'all paid for it. Y'all reinstate those charges in those democratic cities and start asking for restitution so you can start paying for the damages that your city caused and your local leadership allowed to happen. That's what you call when Barack Obama said, make them uncomfortable. Well, that's a Democrat promoting it. How about the defund the police? That's Democrats promoting it. How about give all these groups whatever they want? That's Democrats promoting it. How about 1.8 million to remove monuments that you didn't even have to touch? That was Democratic-led leadership in those cities, in those areas, and that's exactly why you in those areas are suffering, especially businesses, for exactly what those Democrats promoted. Now, what you should do is tell them Democratic leaders and them politicians start stroking you out a check. But I can tell you, there's a difference between how Virginia, under my leadership, deals with this type of crap. Because President Trump was 100% right. You don't give out everybody in America's tax dollars for what your failed, weak leadership in those Democratic-controlled cities allowed and tolerated. No. All of the American citizens, which includes Virginia citizens, ain't going to pay for that. We are not. Definitely not. So, when it comes down to the next election or the next time you decide on leadership, maybe you shouldn't vote Democrat. Because all of the American citizens don't have nothing to do with your problems that you created by giving terrorists a cookie and then expecting them not to ask for a cup of milk. Now they asking for a complete exoneration of their history, burning up those cities. Not today, not tomorrow, not on the American people's dime, definitely not on Virginia's dime. No. See, what y'all need to be demanding for the businesses and the people affected by these riots is demanding compensation from the people who organized, promoted, or provided security for these riots. That's who you go after. Because the American citizens, we're fed up. The federal government is the last resort, not the first resort. We got enough problems dealing with this COVID hoax. We ain't going to deal with any extra problems that are self-created by Democrats. We are not. Ask Barack Obama to stroke that check since he said keep up the protest, keep up making it uncomfortable. Do you see him stroking the check for those businesses that had to deal with his message? No, you don't. Trust me, we are still dealing with his problems because he never fixed them when he was president, and America's waking up to that. So we ain't gonna be paying for that. No, President Trump, you made the right decision. It's time for people to be held accountable for what they do, to pay for their damage, to go after these organizers of these groups and make sure they compensate those businesses and individuals directly impacted by their riots and activities. That ain't for the American people to be paying for criminal activity. That's for criminals to be paying for criminal activity and for those Democratic leaders who promoted it. That's what happens when you have bad leadership. That's what happens when you have people passing the buck everywhere you go. Because it seems like every time a problem happens in their city, they think it's something to do with the federal government. When are you going to start looking at them and start saying to yourself, city manager and mayor, what did you do to stop this? But we see you on TV putting on makeup, getting new haircuts while this is all going on, and acting blind to the madness, even so blind to the point you decided to deny help for the very problems that you already knew was out of control while you was in a leadership or in a decision-making capacity. That ain't for all the American people to pay for. That's for you to pay for and for those who decided to cause the problems. Was President Trump 100% right to deny federal relief for liberal cities and states' problems that promoted the riots? No, absolutely not. Virginia absolutely would not be paying for it. Virginia Mayor Stoney and Governor Northam, sorry, we are in a blue state. But the fact is, they did nothing to stop it. So don't get all of us American citizens, law-abiding citizens, to start losing some of our pay and our income to pay for your mess that you created and manufactured. So we will not be paying for that under Merle Rutledge's leadership. And we don't have a law where we can hold these groups responsible. We are going to have one. Because, like I said, this is the last time all this mess happens. The last time. The last time people go without being held accountable or shown responsibility. That's the last time. What happened under Governor Northam and Stoney is exactly why you don't have cowards in leadership. And American people will not pay for that. No, we will not. So for all your businesses and all your individuals, these individuals affected by what has happened with the riots, you are in my prayers. Trust me, I wish this would never happen, because it would never happen under me. You already know that. That's proven, because I already spoke the truth. But y'all need to start looking at Governor Northam and Stoney and the rest of them who was marching with them while they were burning your buildings down, while they was on TV promoting the riots, while your buildings and your monuments and you private citizens had to live in fear. They was promoting it. So it isn't about time that you hold them accountable and responsible for everything that has happened as a result. That's exactly how we move America forward. We move America and Virginia forward by not only showing responsibility and accountability, but showing the true definition of leadership that America wants moving forward. Sorry we lost that from great politicians and mavericks that we have had throughout time, and we have got this exchange of basic, weak leadership and bad policy making decisions. But under Merle Rutledge, we will no longer have to go through that. We're going to hold those accountable, we're going to hold those responsible, and make sure we fix Virginia together, but we make sure we don't deal an extra blow to those who are already dealing with this whole pandemic in a very harsh way to further punishment. That ain't right, and it ain't the right thing to do. This is Merle Rutledge, the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia, running for the Republican nomination. Leadership where it counts.